Channel 8, number 1, and you're part of it. Total 8 Tulsa, with Bob Hauer, Beth Rangel, Chris Lincoln, and Don Woods. The most complete, up-to-the-minute news in the Southwest.
Good evening, and thank you very much for joining us. At this hour, Tulsa police are investigating the recovery of what they believe might be a human hand. It was found in North Tulsa. The object was dug up by a dog in the 4300 block of North Trenton Avenue. Police say the skeletal object resembles a hand, but it will have to be examined by a medical authority to be sure. The dog's owner, Lance Bussman, said he found the object when he returned from school. Detectives took the object to the police department and investigation continues. Well, the accused slayer of a 10-year-old Owasso girl was arraigned in district court today. 20-year-old Timothy Herman is charged with the October 23rd strangulation death of Tammy Michelle Moody. Herman was a janitor at the elementary school where Tammy was last seen alive. He led police to her body. At the arraignment, Herman's attorneys argued that his arrest was unlawful because police did not have probable cause to arrest him. They contended at the time Herman was taken to the sheriff's office for questioning, investigators didn't even know a crime had been committed, and all the evidence was inadmissible. They also argued against making the case a capital offense. The district attorney has said that he will seek the death penalty because the crime was particularly heinous, cruel, and atrocious. But the attorneys say the law does not spell out what constitutes a heinous crime. Judge Dalton overruled both defense motions. Herman did not enter a plea, but the trial date has been set for March 20th.
The chief defense attorney for murder suspect Gene Leroy Hart says he's very interested in seeing the composite drawings of a man who allegedly raped and attempted to murder a Muskogee teacher. Garvin Isaacs is upset over the decision by the Cherokee County District Attorney not to release the sketch of the suspect, reported to be an Indian male in his mid to late 30s with shoulder-length hair. Isaacs says the description is similar to the one given just after the 3 Girl Scout murders near Tahlequah in June of '77. The 35-year-old Muskogee teacher was abducted on the campus of Northeastern State University. She remains hospitalized and under guard. Fire destroyed 1 house and damaged 2 others in Berry Hill this morning. Diane Kennedy reports firemen were called to the house twice, but the second time it was too late.
The fire destroyed a home and damaged 2 other houses owned by Billy Carroll. Carroll, his wife, 2 sons, and a friend were asleep when the fire broke out for the first time about 11. The blaze apparently was sparked by a short in the dryer. Firemen were summoned.
They come out the first time and they thought they had it out and they told us to leave. Then we left and went to a motel, and we come back this morning, it was just burnt to the ground.
Berry Hill firemen say they got a call at 4 a.m. When they arrived, the house was already engulfed in flames. They were on the scene a couple of hours, but the fire was still smoking at 9 a.m. The houses on either side were damaged. One was vacant, but one of the Carroll's employees lives in the other. Carroll says his family will probably stay with relatives. For Total 8 Tulsa, Diane Kennedy reporting.
Tires were slashed and 2 Molotov cocktails were hurled early this morning at a Tulsa duplex, but the residents heard a bottle breaking and discovered the firebombs before any damage occurred. The duplex is located next door to another duplex which was torched by an arsonist just last week. 2 days before that, the family's car was burned in the driveway. Firemen are still investigating the case. Last night, a car sitting in each driveway of the duplex had its tires slashed. The residents did not want to be interviewed on camera, but they told us that they were worried and they're concerned about their family's safety. They said police are now patrolling the area more, and in addition, some of the neighbors have agreed to watch each other's houses. Well, when Christopher Lewis and Total 8 Tulsa film crew responded to a call of a house fire today in Tulsa, he found that the Tulsa Fire Department does far more than simply put out fires. Here's his report on a dramatic rescue.
It was early afternoon when Tulsa fire units responded to a house blaze in the 2600 block of East Oklahoma in North Tulsa. A small wood frame home was burning. Firemen said a malfunctioning floor furnace was to blame. A routine assignment for city firemen, routine especially at this time of year. Fortunately, there was nobody at home when the blaze broke out. Nobody except 3 family pets, 2 cats and a small dog. When firemen finally noticed that the animals were trapped inside the burning home, a routine assignment turned into a rescue.
Well, of course, normally we've sent fellows in there with masks on. They're looking for people, and they found both these animals there in the kitchen. So I just pumped him a little bit, and there's nothing we can do for the cat.
So you just,
of course, there was no one in there. We knew that before we started to work on them.
Yeah. So you just hope the dog will pull through now, and he'll be all. He doesn't look like he was burned at all.
No, he was just overcome by smoke. It was pretty thick.
And it's kind of sad to see him struggling like this, but there is a chance that he'll make it. Huh?
Seems to be. See, he can touch his eyes and he blinks, so he's got good reaction.
What can people do to keep their dogs and cats from? It's not too much.
Not much when they're shut up in a house like that, you know.
To help a bit, firemen brought in oxygen. The dog's heart had stopped beating because he couldn't get air inside the home. But once he was outside, he started regaining consciousness. By the time firemen were packing up, the nameless puppy was regaining more strength on his way back to recovery, thanks to the quick thinking of a Tulsa fire chief who really cared. For Total 8 Tulsa, Christopher Lewis reporting.
And we found out that the dog is, to this day, right now, doing just fine. An 8-year-old Muskogee boy remains in serious condition at Hillcrest Burn Center following an early morning house fire in Muskogee. Jacqueline Scott has more.
The fire broke out shortly before 3 o'clock this morning. Although no cause has been determined, owner Jerry Garrett says it started in the utility room. A neighbor, J.P. Walker, pulled 8-year-old Jeff Garrett through a window. The boy's father says he and the rest of his family managed to escape through a window, but the father couldn't get to his son. The son is now in serious condition at the Hillcrest Burn Center. Fire officials say the fire was out of control when they arrived. They say the house is a total loss. For Total 8 Tulsa, in Muskogee, Jacqueline Scott reporting.
74-year-old Norval Ray Kelly, one-time manager of Tulsa's first UHF television station, died Sunday following a lengthy illness. The now-defunct Channel 23 was built on Lookout Mountain in 1953, and occupied facility is now utilized by Channel 8. Kelly was an NBC radio and television staff member for 20 years.
Coming up, Finance and Revenue Commissioner Norma Eagleton spends her last day on the City Commission. I'm George Stewart.
On another segment of Crime Stoppers tonight, we'll look at how dramatizations help fight crime. I'm Diane Kennedy.
And the Skyroomer crew has the story of a famous country preacher. I'm Bill Mitchell.
Total 8 Tulsa is brought to you this evening by Safeway, Kathy's Furniture, Walmart, Jim Hopkins Ford, and by Ginger's Boutique.
Get more for your money with Safeway's Inflation Fighter Specials. Great for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Mr. Turkey boneless turkey ham. It's waste-free and just $1.98 a pound. From our produce department, juicy ruby red grapefruit. Inflation Fighter price, 8 for just $1. And for an economical meatless dish, quick and easy Kraft macaroni and cheese dinners, just 29 cents a package. Save with these and other Inflation Fighter specials now at Safeway.
If you love comfort and value fine craftsmanship, you will find a happy combination of both in Kathy's wide selection of chairs, love seats, and sofas. Each stage of construction receives meticulous attention to detail. Choose from a variety of styles and fabrics among the prettier things at Kathy's, 8th to 9th on Main.
Walmart's Super Inflation Buster Sale blasts through the inflation barrier with big discount savings on hundreds of everyday items. Like Conair's Lots of Curls Curling Iron, now just $3.93. Renews its 6-ounce air freshener, only 31 cents. Kleenex tissue discount priced to just 48 cents. Colgate 9-ounce toothpaste, only $1. And Cordite Heavy Gauge 26-gallon trash can liners, just 96 cents for the 20-count box. For Super Inflation Buster savings on hundreds of items. Shop Walmart now through Saturday.
Norma Eagleton attended her last City Commission meeting today as Tulsa's Finance and Revenue Commissioner. Next week, she begins her new job as a member of the Corporation Commission. And today, City Hall paused to wish her well. And we have more on that from George Stewart.
City business was disposed of in near record time this morning, for the main order of the day was Norma Eagleton herself. It was her last City Commission meeting after nearly 3 years in office. and people wanted to say thank you, beginning with Mayor Jim Inhofe.
We are truly saddened by your loss, the loss of you here, but we're very proud to have you in the new capacity, which you'll be serving many more Oklahomans.
Flowers, plaques, and tributes followed as persons representing civic organizations and city agencies came to thank Mrs. Eagleton for her service.
There are absolutely no words to thank you, Norma, for everything that you've done for us.
But not all the tributes were serious. The Metropolitan Area Planning Commission good-naturedly gave her a pair of cowboy boots for her new job.
I think the importance of the cowboy boots are twofold. First, I think you can mix with the masses down there. You won't feel too much out of it. I think you can feel much more at ease. And then secondly, and I think the mayor can attest to this from his experience in the Capitol for a number of years, that you need protective footwear around the state capitol. As you wade from one office to another, and
When the tributes were over, Mrs. Eagleton had her turn to respond.
I feel as if I have died. When I was a little girl, I used to fantasize about my funeral. I knew then they'd say nice things. Thank you all so much. You have, of course, been far too generous.
Mrs. Eagleton emphasized that it's citizen participation that gives government creativity, and she offered this challenge.
So you must keep coming. You must promise to keep coming. And if this government is smart, it will not only have an open-door policy and invite you in, it will beg you to come. It will send buses for you. For you are the city and you are the government. And most of all, you hold the vision, and you must keep that vision alive.
And then it was Mrs. Eagleton's turn to say thank you.
So you see, really, the thanks are mine to you for teaching me about Tulsa, about the processes of government, about how creative ideas are born and progress can happen. I shall never forget you. And I shall be grateful all my life for the privilege of serving with you in your government. Thank you.
For Total 8 Tulsa, George Stewart reporting.
The Tulsa school officials are considering a proposal to close Frost Elementary School in North Tulsa, and the principal there is predicting stiff opposition from parents. That proposal to close the school is just one of many being considered by school administrators who are trying to come up with a new desegregation plan. Guy Atchley has a report.
Changes are in store for 4 elementary schools in North Tulsa, including Burroughs, Hawthorne, Whitman, and Frost. While these first graders at Frost Elementary are learning to make new sounds, school officials are making sounds of their own about possibly closing this school as part of a desegregation plan. These students would be sent to Emerson and Burroughs. Ironic, since Frost was built to ease overcrowding at Burroughs in the first place. But now desegregation has priority. Of the 278 students in attendance today at Frost, 4 were white. But the principal here has his own counter-proposal that he believes will upgrade the curriculum, draw more white students, and thereby keep his school open. His plan would change the grade system to a level system.
Here again, a child could have a possibility of moving from, say, level A up through level D, which might encompass, say, maybe 2 or 3 to 4 levels within a particular year. But then he wouldn't be strapped with the pressure of having to repeat the first grade or having to be caught up in situations whereby that he's just not able to move on.
The principal says Frost Elementary has another strong point, and that is its location. Located in the midst of rolling hills and parks, ideal for use in a comprehensive science program. Next Tuesday, principals of all 4 schools will meet with administrators to present their suggestions. And in the near future, the school board will hold public hearings, giving parents their turn to talk. For Total 8 Tulsa, Guy Atchley reporting.
In order to please the federal government, school officials are considering several other proposals for desegregation. They include a plan to develop a 12-month school program in one or more of the schools in question, with the summer enrollment to be open to children throughout the city.
Oklahoma's strip mining operations may have stricter guidelines to follow soon. New federal requirements for strip mine reclamation were discussed by state legislators today in Muskogee. Jacqueline Scott was at that forum and has this report.
Most coal mining companies in Oklahoma are strip mining operations. New federal standards require that the land used by the company be restored to its original condition. That means frequent inspections to check soil conditions. Responsibility for many of those inspections will fall on the shoulders of state government. Just what effect will the new federal regulations have on the state of Oklahoma? That's what we decided to ask state legislators. They were meeting at a forum for legislators in Muskogee.
I feel that the reaction is going to be negative, and probably due to the fact that we're having more and more federal intervention. The federal government right now, it seems, is telling the states many things that they can or cannot do. And as far as the land being restored, there's many areas where it's being used for cattle. There's many areas that it might even be being used for irrigation purposes. So I feel the legislature, or it's my opinion, that they'll look at it in the negative.
Representative John Monk says the main problem is old coal mines. Many of those, he says, have left wide open strips. The legislators also discussed tax cut possibilities, teacher salaries, and state prison conditions. For Total 8 Tulsa, in Muskogee, Jacqueline Scott reporting.
The elderly and the handicapped of Tulsa now have their own set of wheels. Phyllis Watson reports on a unique bus system designed to make traveling within the city of Tulsa easier for the disabled.
Jack Powers couldn't always leave his home on South Carthage and travel about the city of Tulsa, not until the Metropolitan Tulsa Transit Authority established their program for the elderly and the handicapped. The Sunshine Ladies escort the passengers, and the whole process has been enthusiastically received by the city's disabled.
Well, it's what little mobility I've got. I can't, I've got a friend that, you see, I'm 76 years old, and when you get that old, you look around you and too many of your friends are dead. You know, it's just the way it is. And if your younger friends are working, they haven't time to haul you around.
200 to 300 Tulsans travel the streets of Tulsa each week. The service is available Monday through Friday between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. To make a reservation, simply call 582-6561. A 24-hour notice is required. For Total 8 Tulsa, Phyllis Watson reporting.
Did you tell us that Spotlights for the Birds?
Believe it or not, with Jim Bond and more help for our feathered friends.
Not more birdhouses.
Oh, please no.
We'll be back with that right after this.
This is Captain Rolock. Place your credits for landing and prepare for a galaxy of cosmic value and low prices at Color Tile Supermarket.
At Color Tile, you'll save on a huge in-stock selection of tile, wallpaper, and paint. Save on flat latex wall paint from only $2.99 a gallon. Or save on fancy multicolored mosaic tile from only 69 cents per sheet. Load up on tile, wallpaper, and paint at Color Tile's low prices.
Shop Color Tile now.
Wendy's hot and juicy hamburgers. Juicy meat, juicy toppings, and lots of napkins.
Our house is nice and warm, even in the coldest weather, because we have a free heat machine.
Yes, and you know we're actually using less wood in our fireplace now than we did before we installed it.
We've been able to cut our winter heating bills almost in half.
It's nice to have a free heat machine. It keeps us warm in our bedroom.
Call 663-3590 for the solution to your winter bills. That's 663-3590, or come visit us at 8744 East 46th Street.
The reason I mentioned the birdhouses, of course, is the fact you had so many requests for birdhouse plans. Did you ever get them mailed out?
Did we? We are still in the process of mailing them out, but you're right. A couple of weeks ago, we had a feature spotlight with Jim Bond on a brochure the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife has on building a birdhouse. Well, the response is unbelievable. We have mailed out approximately 350 requests from Channel 8. The Department of Wildlife has had a similar number of requests, so now Jim Bond is following up with an easy bird feeder you can build by yourself.
Chris, with all this real bad weather that we've had and the hard cover of snow and ice, a lot of people have been calling us wondering about feeding the birds and what to feed them and the types of feeders and everything. So I thought today I'd show how to build a real simple type feeder out of a log or a limb of a tree. Simply cut a piece off a couple of foot in length, maybe 6 inches in diameter, drive a nail in the end of it for a hook, and then take an electric drill with about a 1/2-inch bit and drill a series of holes up and down the log as you see here. And of course, it's a good idea to leave some of the limb stubs on the log to give the birds a little bit of a perch. After you get all the holes drilled, then you can take any type of commercial bird feed or even chicken feed, mix it with a mixture of peanut butter and maybe cooking oil or even leftover grease from cooking, and pack it into the holes on the log. This way the birds can come in and feed from the seed that's held by the peanut butter and the grease, or you can use suet and all these things that you can buy at the grocery store. Just mix the feed up in it, pack the holes carefully with this, hang it up in a tree in your backyard, give the birds a little time to get accustomed to it, and they'll start coming in to feed. And then once they do eat all the feed up, be sure that you do replace the feed.
Jim Bond, the bird's best friend. And again, don't write us for plans on that. You just heard it from Jim Bond. On the sports lineup, another bird is coming to Tulsa, ready to perform tomorrow night. That, of course, is Larry Bird, the superstar of Indiana State University's basketball team. At the same time, bad news for TU fans and their star setter, Joe Cooper. The City High School Swimming Championship Finals are set for tonight. We'll have a preview. Tulsa Roughnecks play soccer in Wichita tonight. And highlights of Indiana State's game last night at New Mexico State, a game won by Indiana State in overtime. Those stories coming up later in the sports.
It's important to feed the birds, of course, but it's also important to feed the cattle. Do you agree with that?
I sure do. I like to eat cows.
The 15th annual Cattle Feeders Seminar was held at OSU in Stillwater today. Cattlemen from several states were there, and so was Total 8 Farm Director Gene Wheatley, filing this report with Ellis Freeney of the Oklahoma Cattlemen's Association.
Ellis, we've got a bunch of cattle feeders from all over the country here at OSU. What are they doing here?
Well, Gene, this is the annual Cattle Feeders Seminar. It's sponsored jointly by Oklahoma State University primarily, and the Oklahoma Cattlemen's Association has been co-sponsors for some 15 years now. This program is designed for feedlots, and this is what's taken place, is the latest in the research, education, information in the feeding industry in Oklahoma. And a good many people come here from Texas Panhandle, where the feeding industry is concentrated in that area around Amarillo and Oklahoma Panhandle. Yeah.
How do you see the cattle outlook now for '79 since the last time you and I talked?
Well, prices will depend on the economy in the country, and I think people will continue to have money to buy beef. And I think this, Gene, that with the economics of the business as it's been for 3 or 4 years, that we can expect another 2 or 3 years of the improved economy in the cattle business and the feeding business, and providing that we're not disrupted by governmental actions that could occur.
For Total 8 Tulsa, at the Cattle Feeders Seminar in Stillwater, I'm Farm Director Gene Wheatley.
Total 8 Tulsa is very pleased to be working with the Tulsa Police Department in what we think you will agree is a very important series, the Crime Stopper series.
That's right. Diane Kennedy has that report coming up next.
How do you like your steak? Tender and juicy like this ribeye? Your baked potato? Done just right. Your apple pie? Fresh and spicy. Our special ribeye dinner is just $3.99 Thursday through Sunday this month only. The apple pie is on us. Sound good? Sounds like Sirloin Stockade, America's favorite place for America's favorite meal.
Introducing new Dones. It's stronger and starts to work faster than ever before. New Dones. It takes the ache out of backache.
Darling, I love you so.
Pickwick Records gives you the sounds of yesterday, today, and tomorrow, featuring such major artists as Elvis Presley, Dolly Parton, Stevie Wonder, Linda Ronstadt, and Bing Crosby. Plus the music from the fantastic movie Grease. You can buy these selections and many, many more at the incredibly low price of $2.69. Look for this special display at your nearby Safeway stores.
Tonight, Diane Kennedy continues her report on Crime Stoppers, a program that has had great success in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where it began, and in 30 other cities as well. On Monday, Total 8 Tulsa News and the Tulsa Tribune will begin showing reenactments of crimes which occurred in Tulsa. Channel 8 went to New Mexico to find out how it works.
This is not an actual crime. It's a dramatic reenactment of a crime which took place at this Albuquerque shopping center a couple of weeks ago. The action is being taped by an Albuquerque TV station for use as a Crime Stoppers Crime of the Week. The bandits in this case are members of the city's Job Corps. Often, though, the roles are portrayed by University of New Mexico acting students. It's hoped that the reenactments might jar the memories of possible witnesses to crimes who may not have realized at the time what they were seeing.
We felt that if we portrayed visual reenactments of a crime, that a casual witness might be able to come on up with a key piece of information that could help us in solving the case. It's proved out to be, our theory was right. It has. The second thing is that obviously it's great for community interest. Our reenactments on Monday night are very popular. Not only do the ordinary community look in, but so do the crooks, and they'll critique us on it. The third thing is that we feel as though it's a great crime prevention technique. It shows people how crimes are committed, so that therefore they can be on guard to prevent against that particular type of crime.
Officer Ed Jackson, who will be coordinating the program in Tulsa, explains what he hopes Crime Stoppers will achieve here.
In the first year, frankly, if we can successfully close 10 cases a month on the average, I'll be perfectly happy. Now, I have another goal, and that is one of citizen involvement. Too long, too many people have sat back and said, gosh, I hate the crime situation, but what can I do as an individual? If we can get the people realizing that they can get involved, that they can make a difference, the program will be successful.
In Albuquerque, for Total 8 Tulsa, Diane Kennedy reporting.
Well, it's Groundhog Day today, huh?
Right, February the 2nd, Groundhog Day.
Okay, we'll find out whether he saw his shadow or not, huh?
Right.
Okay, after this.
You can buy or lease a new 1979 van today at Jim Hopkins Ford in Stillwell. These fine selections of Plus vans from Higgins Delta, Executive, and Midas International are prime examples of the good life that awaits you now at prices you can afford. Remember, we've got the products, we've got the price, and we've got the recreational vehicle financing up to 7 years. So come on down and deal yourself in at Jim Hopkins Ford in Stillwell.
Howdy, this is Uncle Zeb at Nichols Super Saver Foods. Now, Nichols food stores are noted for their friendly people. See what I mean? Good fresh produce here at Nichols Food Stores. And a wide selection of groceries. Stocked and displayed so you can find just what you're looking for.
Super Saver, Nichols Super Saver, Super Saver, Nichols Super Saver.
At Ginger's Boutique, we specialize in mixing and matching clothes to fit your individual needs. If your clothes don't coordinate, bring a few pieces in to Ginger's Boutique for us to match tops, slacks, or skirts to make your wardrobe complete without a lot of expense to you. You feel good when you look good. So come on over and visit Ginger's Boutique for the latest fashions. That's Ginger's Boutique, 2601 South Memorial, also in Oklahoma City and Fort Smith.
Phones have come a long distance since Bell called Watson. So have the uses for them. For example, if you have a PayMate account at Mid-America Savings, you can pay all your bills by phone.
Hi, this is PayMate, brought to you exclusively by Mid-America Savings. When you hear the tone, please leave your name and PayMate account number. For each payment you wish to be made, please leave the merchant name, amount to be paid, and mailing date.
And a PayMate account pays 5.25% interest. Mr. Bell probably would have used PayMate. He liked life's little conveniences.
Well, in just a minute, Don will be telling us whether a groundhog out at the Tulsa Zoo saw its shadow or not today. But first, this report on a twist of sorts at the Oklahoma City Zoo today, where they used a bear. Zoo officials say they're reviving an old European custom, and Linda Cavanaugh has this unusual story.
Morning dawned cold, cloudy, and windy, a reminder of the severe winter that's plagued Oklahoma all year. So it was with great expectations that the crowd gathered around the cage of this year's forecaster, the grizzly bear. But since it was his first day on the job, the bear was a little unsure of his newfound responsibilities and was a little slow to respond.
Hey, Bear, hey, Grizz. Hey, Grizz. I know, maybe he's not going to go around him.
But finally, the 800-pound creature lumbered out of his warm den, and onlookers held their breath to see if his ominous shadow would appear. But problems developed. G.H. Grizzly wasn't as used to all the attention as his predecessor, the groundhog, and he spent more time looking at newsmen than looking for his shadow. But after a few moments, it became clear that the bear was not seeing his shadow, and that, as tradition has it, warmer weather can be expected just around the corner. Zoo officials say they have a very good reason for not using the groundhog this year.
Well, groundhogs are rather small and mealy, and it's an awful big chance that they won't see their shadow or will see their shadow. Of course, Grizz standing there, G.H. Bear, weighs about 600 pounds. Now, if there had been any sunlight at all, he definitely would have seen his shadow, so there was no chances taken this year at all. So this is why we can claim that we definitely have the animal that has decided the weather for the next 6 weeks, and we'll see what happens.
Those are the bare facts, Don.
Do you agree with that?
Well, Bob, we're traditionalists over here in Tulsa. We're gonna stick with the groundhog.
All right. Do you come up with the same results?
Yeah.
Okay.
Only smaller shadow. Anyway, it looks like today was a very cloudy day. You can see the clouds streaming up out of Baja California, across Mexico, Texas, through Oklahoma. Gulf moisture pouring northward has caused cloudiness, and it didn't stop the temperature from coming out. And this, of course, is the genuine groundhog. Now, Paul Ray's found this groundhog out at the city zoo, and he did the same thing that the bear did in Oklahoma City. He did not see shadow, which means, according to what I hear, that spring is just around the corner. And so that's good news. Not according to the National Weather Service. They say February is going to be a cold, wet month. But the groundhog says, no, it's going to be spring pretty soon. The frontal system comes in out of a low in northwest Missouri, down just over Tulsa, down into another low in northeastern New Mexico, southwestward into a low off the San Diego coast. And to the north of this front, very cold weather. At the present time, it's 38 degrees in Tulsa, 15 degrees at Wichita, Kansas. So you can see that the air behind the front is very, very cold. That air is coming into northeastern Oklahoma, but from the statistics now, it looks as though we'll receive no precipitation this weekend. I repeat, no precipitation. That's good news, and we're really glad about that. We can put up with the cold weather, but the snow, it's going to miss us. There's snow out to the east of us, all the way from the Great Lakes down through Missouri into northern Arkansas, some freezing drizzle at Fayetteville and Fort Smith, rain in southern Arkansas, Louisiana, down into East Texas, out in the Rocky Mountains, snow clear up into Wyoming. Casper went down to 22 degrees below zero this morning and broke their record. They've had 1 to 4 inches of snow in Montana, 1 to 2 inches down in northern New Mexico, snowing out through Utah, Arizona, the mountains of California, and rain in southern California and in Arizona. All of these low pressure centers are going to move off to the east, and it's going to cause cloudiness, and we are going to get this cold air down in here. In fact, it's just about here, and but no precipitation is forecast. The cold weather very close. The frontal system coming in between Joplin and Bartlesville, just about over Tulsa, south of Oklahoma City and Hobart, not yet to Ardmore, and it'll move right on through the state tonight. 37 in Tulsa, 37 at McAllister, 31 at Fort Smith, Fayetteville, 31, 36 at Joplin, 27 at Chanute, 35 at Bartlesville, 23 at Ponca City, 27 at Oak City, 35 at Hobart, and 23 at Gage. You can see the temperatures dropping back through this area, still mild and under the influence of Gulf air in the southeastern and eastern parts of the state. The pollen count today was 0, the air pollution index 69, which is moderate. The flying weather in the morning is expected to be VFR. The ceilings will be high. Now here's the lakes. In fact, the lakes are frozen. How about that? The lake on the left, the level, the normal, whether it's above or below, what the water is doing, and there is lots and lots of ice on the lake. So I don't know whether that means you can fish or not. Maybe on the heated docks is the place. Nothing on the radar, and Ceddy Long of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma gets tonight's Gusty, and Gusty, is really happy that the weather is warming up. He's really pleased that things are getting better. And here he is saying that mild weather has been here all day long, and it's going to come back. We're going to have a cold snap, and then we're going to miss the snow, and then we're going to have mild weather again the first of the week. It looks like things are changing. Cloudy now, temperature 37, the humidity 75%, the wind southwest 6, the pressure 3002 and rising, and no precipitation today or this month. Normal is 172 in February, sunrise 7:23, sunset at 5:52. Tonight, cloudy and turning colder. Winds switching around to the north at 8 to 16, 19 degrees for a low tonight. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, only getting to 25. And then Saturday night, partly cloudy and down to 15 degrees. Sunday, sunny and cold, 20 degrees. Then on Monday, Arctic air will come in, partly sunny and cold, only 16 degrees for a high temperature. And Tuesday, partly sunny and continued pretty cold, 25 degrees for a high. And of course, on the Weather Wisdom tonight, we're going to tell you the official, what it officially says. We interviewed Grundoon the groundhog, and if the groundhog does not see his shadow, it means that spring is just around the corner. There's Grundoon searching for his shadow, which cannot be found today because of the clouds, of course.
Pretty neat groundhog. Next, Chinese Vice Premier Deng in Houston.
And a report on unemployment right after this.
Hungry! Hungry Jack! Want biscuits for breakfast? Do your chores.
Get right to it, Ma.
Ha! Knew the smell of Hungry Jack biscuits would get you hopping. They bake up so big, hot, and flaky. Look at those delicious layers. Fill up even the biggest appetite. All done?
Yeah, well, now Ma hungry.
That's my Hungry Jack. Bet you got one, too.
Hungry, Hungry Jack. They gobble 'em down and the plate comes back for a Hungry Jack.
The Great Escape is on right here. Winners come from far and near. It's the 5th season, the Oaklawn season. It's the 5th season, Oaklawn. It's the fun season, excitement season. It's the 5th season, Oaklawn.
Campbell's Chunky Split Pea with Ham Soup is so chunky, you'll be tempted to eat it with a fork, but use a spoon to get every drop.
Chinese Vice Premier Deng Xiaoping visited Houston today, and one of the highlights of his stay was a grand tour of the space program there, and Charles Murphy has the report.
The Vice Premier was greeted at Ellington Air Force Base by Houston Mayor Jim McConn and Texas Governor William Clements. The mayor presented Deng a pair of silver spurs, but did not give him the symbolic keys to the city. Otherwise, he received treatment only accorded very special visitors. At the Manned Space Center, he was given a guided tour by Director Christopher Kraft. Deng was shown the Apollo 17 space capsule and then climbed into the seat of a lunar rover vehicle. At one point, Deng was introduced to Senator John Glenn, the first American in space, and Deng said, "You are an immortal." Hanging above the moon rock display was an old Mercury capsule like the one in which Glenn flew. Deng went aboard a space shuttle simulator, and with astronaut Fred Hayes sitting beside him, was given a simulated re-entry flight. Astronaut Alan Bean showed him the living quarters, and questions of toilet facilities came up as they usually do. Bean explained how they worked. About 400 demonstrators waited for Deng's arrival at his downtown hotel. An equal number of police were on hand, and there were no serious incidents. Charles Murphy, ABC News, Houston.
Shortly after Oklahoma Senator Henry Bellman announced his plans not to seek re-election to his Senate seat, former President Richard Nixon contacted Bellman and asked him to change his mind. In a telephone interview, we asked Bellman about his relationship with Nixon.
It was sort of a casual meeting with the former president down at the White House the other night, in which he mentioned he'd heard that I'd announced I wasn't running, and said something to the effect he hoped that I'd changed my mind. I've known him a long time, and as most people know, was his campaign manager for a while, so I think that was a perfectly normal response, and I don't think it should have any great significant attached to it.
Unemployment dropped slightly in January, down 0.1%. Labor Department officials say the figures indicate absolutely no signs of recession. Prices on the New York Stock Exchange were down in quiet trading today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was off more than 6.5 points.
What's on Bob Howard's Tulsa?
Well, Little Joe's is closing, not closing really. Little Joe is selling out, and it's a very popular place with a lot of people, and I thought they'd like to join me in wishing him good luck.
Me too. We'll be right back with that.
A killer avalanche, an unrelenting wolf, and the worst winter storm in 20 years. All filmed as it really happened. In the majestic Rocky Mountains, in the greatest adventure ever faced by a family. Join them in the all-new Further Adventures of the Wilderness Family, Part 2.
Rated G, All New Wilderness Family Part 2. America's favorite family is back. Held over second big week throughout Tulsa and all surrounding areas. Check your newspaper.
Broken Arrow, first settled by Indians who moved to the valley of the Arkansas River in the late 1800s, is today the fastest-growing community in Oklahoma. The Arkansas Valley State Bank is proud to have served 3 generations of Broken Arrow residents. Chartered in 1905, we have kept pace with a thriving community of modern schools, housing, churches, expanding business and industry, and good government. The Arkansas Valley State Bank. You bet we're proud of Broken Arrow. We put our money where our pride is.
Come and get it! Try light and lively, the difference is that you help yourself to flavor with half the fat.
Kraft announces light and lively processed cheese product in slices and a loaf.
Help yourself!
Half the fat of regular American processed cheese and lower calories for all your favorite recipes.
Try light and lively, the difference is that you help yourself to flavor with half the fat. And America spells cheese, K-R-A-F-T.
The other day, Tribune columnist Jay Cronley did a piece on a friendly place in Bob Howard's Tulsa called Little Joe's, lamenting the fact that Little Joe was selling out. Well, Bob thought that some of you would like to join him in wishing Joe well.
It's dark in Little Joe's, but once your eyes adjust, you can see why it's considered such a friendly place. His name is Joe Jabara. People come to a place like Little Joe's for a lot of reasons, probably, but I think the main reason they come here is Little Joe himself. Isn't that right?
Yes, it is.
You gonna miss him?
Oh, yes, sure will.
You known him for a long time?
Yes, I have, since about 67.
Why do people like him so well?
Well, I think the credit's due to his professional atmosphere, the entertainment, and excellent food and atmosphere, and good clientele.
And he's a good guy.
Oh, sure.
Joe, you've made a lot of friends through the years here, haven't you?
You bet.
Gonna miss them, aren't you?
You bet.
They tell me you're a good listener.
Well, I do listen.
You've heard a lot of stories, too, haven't you?
That's true.
How long have you been here at Little Joe's?
Well, I opened it up in 65 and then sold it in 69, then bought it back in 76. So I've been here 3 years this last time.
Learn a lot about people in a place like this, don't you?
Yeah.
Joe, you have a lot of friends, and they're going to miss you. And speaking on their behalf, we want to wish you the best, okay?
Well, I sure do, thank you.
In fact, Frank Sinatra said it pretty well. I'll let him say it.
Okay.
Well, that's how it goes. And Joe, I know you're getting anxious to close. Anyway, thanks for the cheer. I hope you didn't mind my band in your ear.
Good luck, Joe. And I know a lot of you join me in wishing Joe good luck. Now we're going to wish you good luck on your sportscast.
I may need this. Good luck, Joe. All right, the University of Tulsa basketball team got some bad news today. Star center 6'11" Joe Cooper will be lost to the team indefinitely. He will certainly miss tomorrow night's big game with second-ranked Indiana State. The reason? Joe Cooper hurt his wrist during the opening minutes of Thursday night's 82-73 victory over Drake. It has been diagnosed as a fractured left wrist. Cooper right there, number 55. In his first season, has been averaging over 12 points and 9 rebounds in conference play. Joe Cooper, though, out of action for the Indiana State basketball game. Well, the Bird is coming to Tulsa. Indiana State's superstar Larry Bird the best player in the nation and college basketball's leading scorer with a 30.2 average. Last night, the Bird put on his show at New Mexico State, but wasn't around for the end. He fouled out as the Sycamores remained unbeaten, winning in overtime 91-89. We have a report on the game last night from ABC.
Mexico State in the final 3 seconds. He misses the shot. Indiana State gets it just a second away from seeing their unbeaten record go down the drain. But an incredible last-second shot goes into the hoop from 51 feet away. Sophomore Bob Heaton made it from behind the midcourt line, saving Indiana State's unbeaten record, putting the game into overtime. Here it is again. The shot heard round the Hoosier State, the most incredible college basketball shot of the season. And then in overtime, the momentum carried Indiana State to victory. Heaton got the first bucket. They went on to win it to the Indiana State Sycamores, 91-89 to stay unbeaten. Dwayne Dow reporting, ABC News.
Some kind of shot, as you can see by that report. Indiana State has just a few more stars than Larry Bird. They'll be here tomorrow night to face Tulsa, 7:35 tip-off. The game is a virtual sellout. Indiana State will come into that record, as you mentioned, with into the game with a perfect 19-0 record. It's obvious from talking to players like the Hurricanes' Terry Sims that this TU team is looking forward to taking them on.
We're ready for Indiana State, and I don't think Indiana State's going to come out cocky. They know that we've got a good ball team. Of course, we're going to have to, hold Indiana's Larry Bird down. I think he's going to probably get, maybe 20 or 25 points. I think it's the other players on their team that's really carrying them this year, and if we can stop them, I think we can take Indiana too.
Terry Sims of the TU Golden Hurricane. Again, the game at 7:35 tomorrow night at the Assembly Center. The ORU Titans, fresh off that 75-74 upset over 9th-ranked Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. the other night, will be in action tomorrow night against a fine DePaul team at 7:35 at the ORU Mabee Center. After returning late yesterday afternoon to Tulsa, head coach Lake Kelly talked about the importance of that big upset win on the road.
A lot to this team, Chris. It meant a lot to our program at this point, and I think the way that we accomplished that was very encouraging to me. And I said to myself, maybe a minute before that game was over, that whatever the outcome of this game is, that I'm very proud of this bunch of guys right here at this point, and the way they've come back and the way they recovered from the Duquesne situation. So it was a big one for us.
ORU DePaul tomorrow night, the Mabee Center, 7:35. The Washington Hornets look like they're ready to sweep both the boys and girls title in the All-City Swimming Championships. The finals get underway tonight at 7 at the University of Tulsa pool. Washington High has placed swimmers in each of the 18 events and posted 9 of the top qualifying times in last night's preliminaries. In fact, the Hornets qualified 2 swimmers in all but 1 event in the girls and all but 2 events in the boys competition. Many city records are expected to fall tonight as the 10 public high schools battle it out at the TU pool. We'll have a filmed report tonight at 10. The Tulsa Roughnecks play soccer tonight inside at Wichita, and we'll meet a super race car mechanic coming up in sports.
Buying our new Swinger motorhome was the best decision we ever made. We got the carefree durability and economy of 4-ply laminated construction.
And the most beautiful and luxurious features you'd ever want in a motorhome.
At a price that makes Swinger surprisingly easy to own. Swinger.
From Georgie Boy,
the motorhome people.
You can find the recreational vehicle you want at Jim Russell's, Highway 69 North in Muskogee, open 7 days a week.
I'm the Fritz. I'm all the troubles a washer gets. These heavy rugs will put even a Speed Queen transmission on the Fritz.
Sorry, Fritz. Speed Queen transmissions are built to handle heavy loads. They have a 10-year limited warranty. Nobody else has more than 5.
Curses! Speed Queen again!
This week at Speed Queen at Otasco and get a $25 instant rebate. Sale prices and credit terms.
I like going there. Everyone's so friendly.
They really care about young people. I feel like I belong.
We're one of the many young couples who are happy to be involved.
It means a lot to me. I love every minute of it.
First Baptist Church Muskogee is a large family of God composed of people like these who are turning to Christ for the answers to life. Perhaps He has the answers you need too. Come join us.
The Frederick preseason sale is going on now at Allen's. All this month you can save on Frederick air conditioners in 2 ways. You'll save up to $100 with a Frederick sale price at Allen's. And you'll also save on energy cost in summer with Frederick's special high-efficiency design. At Allen's, you'll find Fredericks like this 19,000 BTU model with 6-way louvers, copper cooling coils, and whisper quiet sound insulation. See all the Fredericks on sale today at all 4 Allen's locations.
Assembly Center has been a busy place of late. Basketball last night, hockey tonight. The Tulsa Ice Oilers in town to take on Oklahoma City at 7:30. It'll start a busy weekend for the Ice Oilers. They go back to Oklahoma City for a game there on Saturday night. Then on Sunday, it'll be home again to take on Dallas at the Assembly Center. Again, Tulsa, Oklahoma City. That's tonight at 7:30. Tulsa Roughnecks play the Chicago Sting in indoor soccer tonight. The game in Wichita, Kansas. After 2 losses last weekend in the indoor tournament in Florida, we asked Coach Alan Hinton what he expects tonight against Chicago.
Well, the Stings, they're good soccer players there, and but I'm not bothered about them. I'm bothered about us. We've had a good weekend. We've now had 2 indoor games. We'll be in very, very good condition for playing the Sting on Friday, and we'll know the rules a lot better. We know each other a lot better. We'll be putting together a good indoor team, and obviously it's in preparation really for the biggest game of all, which is the Russian game against Moscow Dynamo on the 13th of Feb here in Tulsa.
I understand the tickets are still going very well for that big indoor soccer match. Again, the Russian Dynamo is coming to town on February the 13th. You can't have a race team without one, and the better he is, the better the chances of winning are, and that's the mechanic. One of the best in the sprint car business is engine man Gary Masato from Kansas. We talked with him yesterday about getting his engine ready to race.
Well, you just start from scratch. You start with a bare block and go from there. Takes a lot of time, a good machinist, and you just have to double check everything you do.
Then there are times when you run into those problems that nobody anticipates. In this situation, a frozen block, and where do you go from here?
Well, we just have to, we got a spare motor that I brought down, and we're going to put it in. I've got another short block assembly. We're going to put it to take the heads off this and put it on the motor and put it in while we're in Florida.
Okay, it's got to be a good feeling to know that you've had so much to do with the car, especially when it's successful.
Oh yeah, it's you know, that's the reason why people do everything that's being done is everybody likes to be a success at it.
He's one of the best. Masato really put to the test yesterday. The Cobb Racing Team engine had a cracked block. He completely rebuilt the engine overnight. They're ready to race, heading to Florida this afternoon. That's sports.
Somebody called one to know if Little Joe's was closing. No, it isn't. Pat Clark's going to keep it going just the way it was. And speaking of Little Joe, last night we reported on the Little Tramp. You know, Dan Murphy had the early career of Charlie Chaplin. Well, tonight, Dan begins where Chaplin's movie career began to fade into obscurity.
Charlie Chaplin was very outspoken politically, and by the mid-1930s, his political views had crept into his films. In Modern Times, he commented on the working conditions in American industry.
Out Caesar, out Nolus, Emperor of the world. My word.
And in The Great Dictator, he poked fun at several world leaders. But it was not a good time to be politically outspoken in the United States, and Chaplin found himself branded a communist. In 1953, while en route to Europe for a vacation, he was informed the government had decided he was an undesirable alien and would not allow him to return. Chaplin bought a villa in Switzerland where he lived the remainder of his life with his 4th wife, Una, and their 8 children. He did return to the United States in 1971 to receive a special Academy Award and was greeted with an unbelievably and incredibly warm standing ovation.
Dan Murphy will be back in a minute.
Making friends with a wild bird.
everything.
Everything's nice at Sipes.
Everything's so nice in the new world of Sipes Kensington, it's like no other food store you've ever seen. Entire departments stocked with specialty items like health foods, imported cheeses, and rich hand-dipped chocolates. Larger departments of Sipes' famous quality meats and fresh fruits and vegetables. More aisles of name brand products, faster checkout lanes, nice friendly people, and low prices. Shop the new world of Sipes Kensington today at 71st and Lewis.
Everything's nice at Sipes. So very nice at Sipes. Everything's nice at Sipes.
During Walmart's Super Inflation Buster Sale, sew a new wardrobe at big discount savings. With any one of a dozen 100% polyester interlocking prints, go from this to this. Just $1.37 a yard. Or turn these polyester cotton gauze solids into a casual top like this. Just 97 cents a yard. With these polyester cotton dress and blouse prints, you can sew fashionable outfits for only 94 cents a yard. For all your sewing needs, shop Walmart's Super Inflation Buster Sale, now through Saturday.
Total 8 Tulsa is brought to you this evening by Jim Russell's Incorporated of Muskogee, Mid-America Federal Savings and Loan, Nichols Super Saver Foods, the First Baptist Church of Muskogee, your friendly Otasco Home and Auto Stores, and by Allen's TV and Appliance Centers.
The Williams Companies is planning to sell its Williams Energy Company, and that sale will mean a loss of about $3.5 million to the Williams Companies. A spokesman for the company says the loss will show up in the fourth quarter financial report. Penn Central Corporation is expected to buy the company effective March 31st.
Parrots, canaries, and parakeets are common household pets. But have you ever had a wild bird flying around your home, eating scrambled eggs? Dan Murphy found just that in North Tulsa.
We're about to do something that's a little unusual for Tulsa. There is a wild starling outside right now, and Mrs. Mary Samples is going to open the door and let this wild bird in her house. And the bird does it routinely. Go ahead, Mary. I don't believe this. Well,
he fell off of a building out there where my husband works, and he brought him home in a little box, and we raised him from just about 2 days old. You know, he just had a little bit of fuzz on him.
He just flew away. Where's he going now?
He'll go into the kitchen. This morning I'm pacifying him with egg because we've been feeding him cheese, and I think he's a little burnt out on it. But I've noticed that when he's got in the house before, that he'd get into the plate where my husband had ate, and he liked egg. So this morning, since you all were coming out, I thought I'd pacify him with egg because I might could do more with him.
Now, does he like fried eggs or scrambled, or what does he prefer?
It just so it's egg. The first day that he went out, we didn't think he was big enough to go out. He kind of surprised us when he did fly off. And he circled around for about 45 minutes because he had got up so high he didn't know how to get back down.
He didn't know how to land?
No, he didn't know anything about navigating.
Well, pilots of planes, they have the same problems, I think, when they get up there.
He had to learn. But he kept flying around until finally he just kept landing in the trees a little lower until he finally, on the last time that he come around, he'd come down and landed on my shoulder, which surprised me.
He finally flew to my hand, and he's bitten me a few times, and there he goes. I can't believe that this wild bird actually is here, but he is. Come on over here. For Total 8 Tulsa, this is Dan Murphy, a bit amazed.
And so are we, Dan, and that's our news until 10 o'clock tonight. I want to thank you very much for being with us and wish you good evening.
This has been a KTUL TV news presentation.